and you've got to be a little bit lucky around the fast sections. What you're looking to do is not touch any white lines. It's really easy around this fast section coming towards the chicane to touch a white line, and the job will be over.
So braking hard now into the timber chicane at the end of this first lap. Bayliss leads it, Corsa second, Kageyama third, Norrie Hager ahead of Alex Barros, who's got away a bit from James Tosland, Andrew Pitt in seventh, 8th Zaus, 9th Sebastian Jambert, who is a bit of a wet weather merchant riding for the Yamaha France R1 squad, ahead of Regis Laconi, Noric Arbe, Michel Fabrizio and Josh Brooks. And I said Brooks looked keen, he's there in 13th place.
Did he stop for the start, or did he just keep going after his wall? I can't remember.
And I think Brooks, in keeping with so many of the Aussies, and we have one of them in the commentary booth here, lingering behind us, Brendan Roberts, sorry, two of them, seem to like the wet. I don't know why guys who come from such a dry country like the wet, but traditionally people like Kevin Curtin have always gone well in the rain, and Josh Brooks looks like another. But at the front, Troy Corsa. Would Corsa surely prefer to be at the front and have just a bit better visibility here?
Yeah, there's not that much water coming up, there's not that much spread. I don't think you're going to have a problem with visibility just yet.
Corsa says that one of the main problems when there's been a lot of rain here is a tendency to aquaplane. He said there's quite good grip, but occasionally it does get a bit... Oh, and here he comes, trying to have a look up the inside of Troy Bayliss. Not quite. Kageyama's pushing.
What he means by that, Jack, is the fact that there's so many fast corners. Not just so many now of the new circuit, but there's so many fast corners. The long series of rights and then the big left before the chicane are so quick that any little slide, a bit of slippy track. Oh, this is...
What's going on? Oh, Barros has got stuffed by Ruben Zaus.
Steady, boys, have a care.
Put it there, son. And the front four have just broken away from that scrap, in fact. Tosland's leading it now in 5th place, but this front four have just escaped somewhat, lapping very tentatively in 2 minutes 5, 2 minutes 6 seconds. Way beyond, in fact, beyond what they were doing on the 1,500 metre longer old circuit in the dry. Yeah,
but that was the first lap you're looking at there on the timing screen. This next lap will be a lot quicker once we come over the line.
Yeah, and it is. Bayliss, 1:59.8. Fastest man on track, Hager, 1:59.032. That's closed him right up on the leading three. And considering Norrie really detests rain, he's pretty gritty when he gets out in it.
This is Corsa trying to go up the inside of Bayliss and not just getting away with it.
Incidentally, Norrie Hager proved his prowess while the warm-up was being delayed extensively this morning. Dear me. by firing t-shirts from a huge air gun across the main straight into the far grandstand, to the delight of the fans, those who didn't get knocked out by the cannon fire. So there he is in 4th place, behind Bayliss and the two Suzukis.
At this point, Kageyama looks fairly keen to get past his teammate, but he is going to have to be so careful. Francis Batten would not be pleased if there was a mangling session between his two riders.
Yukio looks to me like a man who's keen to be at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like he's just been held up in certain parts of the track by his teammate Troy Corsa.
And there are certain points where the Suzukis look at closing up on Troy Bayliss, but when he gets to this steadier section at the far end of the track, there the Ducati gets away.
It looks like anyway the bike's on its side for a length of time, the Ducati just seems, or let's say Troy Bayliss and the Ducati, just look at there, just mid-corner.
Yeah,
it just seems to be able to pull away. He's just got a bit of more confidence mid-corner.
And Ruben Zaus is locking horns with James Tosland in the background there. The two white figures in the background. Tosland on the Tenkate Honda, riding, of course, on home ground for the Dutch squad. And Ruben Zaus on the Sterile Guard of Beric Ducati. Zaus, remember, a former race winner here.
Yeah, former race winner, and also 1 year he had to basically shut off and let his teammate Troy Bayliss at the time pass for the championship.
And that was in 2001. He won the first race in 2003 against Neil Hodgson. And here comes Hager around the outside of his best mate, Yukio Kageyama, just to prove that we were wrong about Kageyama pressing.
Yep.
And Hager's best lap, once again, 1:58.529, fastest man on track.
And I think now he's got past Kageyama, and I think you'll see him close up pretty quick on the back. And Corsa's now past Bayliss for the lead.
So Troy Corser is completely contrary to anything we may have presupposed. Has now been the lad who's pushed onto the front, and he did seem quietly confident.
I tell you what, we spoke to him just after the warm-up was stopped because of the Steve Martin's bike dumping the oil, and he was very confident, just sort of relaxed, not nervous whatsoever.
So Troy Corser now at the front. Look at him standing on the brakes at the end of that main straight where he goes into the chicane at the Rusken Hike, which is normally an 80-mile-an-hour second gear right-left flick, distinctly slower this time, and almost kissing tyres, the Japanese pals.
These are best mates, but when they get together on track, you always got the impression that something bad's gone to happen, don't you?
Meanwhile, behind these four, Ruben Zaus is fifth now, ahead of James Toland as they cross the line. Andrew Pitt, Sebastian Jambert now eighth, and Barris is out.
Well,
he doesn't look pleased with life at all. So
he's not going to be, is he?
The 7-time Motor GP and Motorcycle 500cc Grand Prix winner flings down his gloves, and he's out after 4 laps of 22 here at the new 1,500-metre shorter 4.5 kilometre race. And that's Fabrizio Chili.
That's Chili. It's Chili.
So Frankie Chili, who I thought might do all right in the... Oh, did not let go fast. Oh, dear.
Load of brakes still on. Going here, Struben, and maybe faster than Struben. Anyway.
Frankie, there was no warning there, so Frankie Chili goes down hard on his shoulder, and he's out of the race. Incidentally, remarkably, Curtis Roberts, younger son of Kenny Roberts Sr., is in 15th place and has a point for the NC Karaki Ducati team. I beg your pardon, the Pedicini Ducati team. He was ahead of Killy. Killy's now gone. Max Neukirchner will be in 16th place, just outside the points, riding now, of course, for the Alstara engineering team. But these four are having a rather entertaining slow-motion duel at the front. Kageyama trying to find a way past Noriyuki Haga, but at the front, Corser just has opened up those few bike lengths. We'll take a quick break.
Sponsored by Bennett's Bike Insurance.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any more thrilling, MotoGP simply ups the intensity. The scrap for the title is so tight, it's forcing the riders to take their machines right to the limit. Eurosport brings you the live action of all the practice and all the races, all season long. MotoGP from Malaysia with practice early Friday morning and qualifying early Saturday, live on British Eurosport.
Subscribe to Eurosport Clubs for just £3 per week and get rid of your old boring SMS. For Guns N' Roses Rift, text Euro 1. How about Snoop Doggy Dogg? Text Euro 2. Get money for nothing. Text Euro 3 for In Excess. Text Euro 4, or for the classic Sweet Home Alabama Rift, text Euro 5 to 88888.
The thing I enjoy about the countryside the most is the peace, quietness, space, fresh air, the scenery. It's really beautiful.
On footpaths, I think everyone will have stepped in dog muck at one time. Yeah. It's just horrible.
Disgusting.
Horrible.
Got to be responsible pet owners.
See, people don't realise their dogs could be a danger to wildlife. There's sheep running around scared, there's birds nesting on the ground. Havoc. Keep them on a lead.
Well, I think signs are more important on a coastal path.
Warning signs.
Oh, definitely.
Rather painful.
If you're going to go for a walk across the moors, don't go out just willy-nilly. Be prepared. Take sufficient clothes so in case the weather does change, and it'll change very quickly.
You know, I think you should treat the countryside as you would treat your home.
Yeah.
For what to do and where to go,
just look on the web.
Can I go now?
Sponsored by Bennett's Bike Insurance.
Welcome back to Assen. A dramatic move by Noriyuki Haga has taken him past Troy Bayliss into second place. An even more dramatic retaliation by Troy Bayliss had him running alongside the
And
Yamaha, but look at this.
We don't have long to wait, but I think Harger's going to have the quickest lap by a long way. I think this is going to be into the... Well, it's definitely going to be a 57 anyway. Let's see.
57.3, so he's gone 4/10 quicker than Troy Corser had done the previous lap, and suddenly he's right on Corser's back wheel. Tiptoeing their way around. Ruben Zaus is 5th. James Tolson in 6th is now about 5 seconds behind. Andrew Pitt has closed right up on Tolson. Fabrizio there. Josh Brooks, what a performance by Josh Brooks. He's now 9th past Sebastian Jambert. And a great performance also by Chris Walker. He's through to 16th, but look at Bayliss.
Look at this.
Bayliss stalking around the outside of Norrie Harger. Harger tries to tuck up the inside.
It's not worked.
Bayliss glances to his right. Norrie Harger on the brakes hard. Oh, dear me. He just holds on to it, and Troy Bayliss all the time doesn't seem to want to let Harger get away. Round the outside, and then he can brake hard and just snatch the line off Troy Corser going into the right-hander. Dear me. So that's Steckenval, and then up towards De Bolt now. You drop into this, it's quite a tight left, and a very short burst up to Mandeveen, and this is where the Ducati's good. Going into the tight right-hander, he retakes the lead.
Yeah, it just seems to be able to run through the middle section of the corners quicker than anybody else does, Bayliss. This is a section where it just builds up. There's this right-hander, then there's another right-hander, then another faster, getting gradually quicker all the time, and then it's back 1 gear, sometimes back 2 gears. On the 4-cylinder, it's back 2 gears for the left-hander, the big fast left, this one here before the chicane.
And another man who's lapping very, very fast, incidentally, you can see prowling in the background. Ruben Zaus, 157.4, was only a 1/10 of a second slower than Norrie Harger on that last lap, but it was Bayliss with a 158.2, set his fastest lap of the race, and now as he hammers past us now, 157.9, he sets the fastest lap on that lap. No, he doesn't. 157.2. Ruben Zaus is on the move on the Sterile Garda Ducati. He's in 5th place, and he's pulled way ahead of a big battle. Tosland, Fabrizio, Andrew Pitt. Oh, and now goes Corser. Corser dumps the Suzuki big time, and the reigning world champion, who'd been riding so solidly up until that point, is down and out. Oh, dear me, he hit hard as well.
Oh, that's terrible. I feel sorry for Troy.
So Bayliss, Harger and Kageyama will now be the trio at the front. Corser, here he goes. Oh, yeah. Wow, that did go down hard underneath him. And he only just got away from the bike.
He just missed him then.
Spun away from him. So now we've got the 2 red menaces at the front, Troy Bayliss and Noriyuki Harger. Yukio Kageyama is 3rd, and Ruben Zaus moves 4th.
And that's the thing, Jack, in a way, it's not as physically demanding because you're not throwing the bike around as much, you're not putting as much pressure physically, but mentally, it's so draining racing in these conditions, because one tiny, tiny mistake and the job can be over, just like it was for Troy Corser there.
It's almost difficult to call that a mistake because the front end just lets go so
all
fast.
It is just running in a little bit too quick and just having a little bit too much brake, and it's all about minute little differences in the way that can catch you out. And here comes Zaus, and once Zaus starts to catch, he's definitely going to press on, I'll tell you. I'm scared for him now.
You really tend to forget that Ruben Zaus has won 9 races in his World Superbike career, and he's finished 2nd in the World Championship. He won here in 2003. He allowed Bayliss to win twice in 2001.
And he's yet another rider who's come back from MotoGP, a couple of years in MotoGP, and not been the force he has before. He was a quality rider, was Zaus, in World Superbike for years.
The rain is driving and slanting in behind them. The wind is pushing them down the main straight here. Here's Michel Fabrizio. He has nicked that 5th place from James Tosland. Andrew Pitt, also another of the quality Australian wet weather riders, is right in the mix there. And behind
the yellow flags are out, Jack. I don't know just quite what's happened there. It might be because they're still getting rid of
the Corser's
bike. But the yellow flags are out at turn 1.
So this is the battle between Michel Fabrizio. The young Roman is now through on the DFX Honda, ahead of James Tosland, Tenkate Honda, and Andrew Pitt is now pressing Tosland. And once again, Harger tries to move past Bayliss under the brakes and just eases him out.
Yep.
Troy Bayliss says he loves racing against Hager. They enjoyed a monumental, is that the word I'm looking for, battle at Brands Hatch in the dry and sunshine. Here they are doing it again in the wet of the Netherlands.
Yeah, and this is hard work for the lads. I mean, I've done reasonably well in the wet. I didn't used to mind the wet at all because I thought I was going to get a result, but this is such hard work. Mentally, they'll be done in when this is finished.
Again, Troy Bayliss glancing over his shoulder. Is he just making sure he's clear behind and happy with the fact he's not under pressure so he can attack again?
Maybe his lap signals are telling him that Zaus is catching, and you don't really want to get nabbed from behind, especially if it's Zaus who's catching you up.
James Tosland there, number 52, just ahead of 88 Andrew Pitt. Behind them, the battle is on between Sebastian Jambert, Josh Brooks and Carl Muggeridge. Is that Ruben?
I think it is.
Oh,
yes,
he was going so fast, and the old bogey strikes again. Ruben Zaus stomps back to his Sterile Garda Ducati.
I hate to say it, but anybody who's lapping half a second quicker than Bayliss and Hager has got to be on sort of shaky ground somewhat, haven't they?
Well, he was damp and shaky ground. So that will move Fabrizio 4th, Tosland 5th, Pitt 6th, and Josh Brooks and Sebastian Jambert.
Oh, that's Bayliss off the track. What happened there? In actual fact, Hager ran wide.
Kageyama's
high side it coming out.
Oh no! Yukio goes down, and Bayliss is very fortuitous to regain his second place because Yukio has bailed.
I told you I had a feeling about this. I just had a feeling this race was going to be...
Oh dear. There's got to be still some traces of all that stuff that was dropped on the track, surely.
Yeah, but even before that was put down this morning, Jack, people were saying that it was slippy going into turn one, maybe something to do with the car racing, rubber in a certain place, whatever. But that seems to be where it's catching everybody out, turn one.
So Hager now has to maintain his concentration. He's done 8 laps out of 22. So he's got to maintain his concentration, maintain his speed.
These races, especially when it's wet, yes, but when you're out on your own, especially, they just take so long. If you're dicey with somebody, they're dry.
Yeah.
Races, 22 laps can go in about 10 minutes, but this is going to be a 4-hour race for him in his mind.
And Sebastian Jambert's in 7th, 8th is Muggeridge, 9th Josh Brooks, now 10th Chris Walker. Oh dear me, Chris is lapping fast. Stalker's come through from, I don't know, 39th. He was bog last when he came out of the gravel in the first turn.
He's lapping about half a second quicker than about 3 or 4 guys in front of him. So
Audi Hager is going quicker at the moment. He's lapping at the same pace as Bayliss. This is Norrie Hager. He's at the, beg your pardon, it's Michel Fabrizio.
Yep. He's
now in 4th place with the DF Extreme Honda. And behind him, he's got number 88, Andrew Pitt. I'm very tickled by Andrew's retro white helmet. I hadn't noticed that before. He hadn't had it on until the race.
Yeah, well, maybe it's his wet weather. You've always got a wet weather helmet just standing ready.
Why?
Because it takes a lot of... It's all prepared differently. You've got a double glazed visor, you've got a clear visor, obviously, and some kind of different venting system some other riders use. So you will have a wet weather helmet prepared and ready.
Well, certainly Andrew Pitt has got his on, and we can see it like a white beacon there in the middle of all this spray at the moment, because the rain, completely contrary to any kind of forecast that we're flying around, continues to drive down.
Yeah,
and Ronald Tenkate insists it's coming straight over from some grubby little island called Great Britain. We've denied this.
It's coming from Norfolk.
Yes, it's the fault of the Norfolk Broads. It's coming directly across.
That's one of the opponent on Motor France.
Jambert's down. Sebastian Jambert. Oh, he was having such a good ride, the 2004 World Endurance Champion. And for Marshall Garcia's Yamaha Ippon France team.
I'll tell you what, you should have got a ride yourself here today, Jack. You'd have got points.
On the scooter. We went round on the scooter in the damp yesterday evening. We managed all right. Just. We've just glimpsed the Emperor of Japan, that glorious little son of this man, Noriyuki Haga, watching his dad in action, and his dad is putting on some sort of display. But notice Troy Bayliss lapping in, well, I was going to say about the same pace. Actually, Bayliss' last lap, of course, was 2 minutes 8.9 after his huge moment.
He's lapping just as quick as Haga now, though, he's in the same place.
He's certainly lapping as quick, and Andrew Pitt is closing on Fabrizio.
And incidentally, Pitt's in a new set of leathers from this meeting on. His RST he's wearing now instead of Arlen Ness. The same stuff as I wear for the magazine.
That's a thrilling piece of information. Thank you very much
Well,
indeed,
just
James.
thought I'd point that out.
Almost matches my own moments of glory here.
Almost matches your moments of inane drivel.
Like the fact that we drove in along part of that beautiful 5-mile circuit.
Yeah, the old circuit, yeah.
From 1954 till 1984, when they shortened it for the first time. And of course now they've shed that extra 1,500 metres just so that these lads can come past the pits a bit more often.
We're looking at Harger. Where is... there's Bayliss. I'm not sure whether he's catching him or not.
Bayliss is just going to keep pressing on.
He's lapping 2 seconds quicker.
He lapped about 1.1 seconds quicker on that lap. Whoa, but he's got in a bit deeper again.
He's done it again.
Every time someone picks up the pace, that's what happens to them.
Can you remember though the wet race at Silverstone when Bayliss actually crashed 3 times, kept picking his bike up and kept going quicker than what he did before he crashed?
I'm not so sure that we haven't lost Walker on that lap. I think we've lost... Oh no, he's gone through 6th. I missed him. Chris Walker, there he is on screen. He's gone through in 6th place, lapping just about the pace of Norrie Harger.
Just about to pass Muggers, I think.
Well, this is a great ride by Chris Walker. In a sense, he's riding for his place in the team. He feels under pressure because Fonzo Nieto brings money to the team, and Regis Laconi got FG Sport backing to get onto the team, and he needs results. Meanwhile, Andrew Pitt has tiptoed right up towards the back wheel of Michel Fabrizio. This is the battle for a rostrum finish. Of course, at the last round in Brands Hatch, this man, Andrew Pitt, finished in 3rd place. He's a class rider, Pitty.
Yeah, he is. I'll tell you what, he was unlucky at Brno not to finish on the rostrum at least once, having his bike stopped with electrical problems both races, I think.
Chris Walker has now closed right up on Toseland, and
no, it's not Toseland, it's Muggers. There's
Toseland. It's Muggers, sorry.
Yeah, there's Muggers and there's Walker.
And Toseland is in 12th place. What's happened to James? JT now right back in 12th place. 13th Lanzi, 14th Steve Martin, 15th Ivan Clementi, ahead of the 39-year-old Harry Van Beek, who finished 3rd in the up. Someone else has gone down.
Somebody else off. That's one of them. Is that Bayliss?
It could be. A little difficult to tell through the mist. It's one of the Xerox Ducatis.
It's got to be Bayliss.
Harger's gone through. Bayliss hasn't. I'm up on my feet. I'm looking for Troy Bayliss. Someone's got to go.
Bayliss.
I think it's
21
Bayliss.
is Bayliss.
So Bayliss has gone down, the championship leader.
His race is over, for sure.
That's fascinating because Fabrizio goes past just ahead of Pitt. Muggeridge goes past just ahead of Walker. Oh, who was that?
That's Bayliss. He lost the rear on the last fast ride before the chicane. That is about a 120, 130 miles an hour get off.
Oh, bless him.
Look how far he's finished up from his bike.
So Bayliss goes down hard. And this man, Norrie Harger...
This man needs some lap signals from his pit crew telling him that he's miles in front and everybody's crashing.
Surely he'll get those from Mario Marigali.
Well,
you really rate him as a team manager. He's going to let him know. Here's Pitt trying to get past Michel Fabrizio. But Fabrizio, I tell you what, he's proving a handful in the wet. He's impressing me. Because Pitt's good when it rains.
Here he comes up the inside. No, not quite.
Meanwhile, you've got Muggers and Stalker. Incidentally, Carl Muggeridge's dad is here and his mum are here this weekend on a holiday in Europe. Not exactly enjoying the weather, but it's Father's Day back home in Australia. So Muggers could too with the result for his dad, but I think he's lost out to Stalker.
Here comes Stalker.
Down.
That's Muggeridge.
Me and my big mouth. Commentator's curse strikes again. Muggers goes down as he kept it going. The thing is that they have the starter motor on so he can restart. Yep. That's what Gerrit Tenkara was telling me this morning. That's why we have it there.
He's getting out the gravel. That's the problem. This is the softest gravel I've ever come across.
Oh, come on, Carl. Push it. Push it. Is he going to be able to re-go?
He's going.
Because he can get points. He can surely get points. So Walker becomes 4th. Brooks 5th. Arbe 6th. Neukirchner 7th. He hung on to that well as it went down.
He did, yeah. If you hang on to it, it tends not to flip up in the air and start tippling over and smashing itself to pieces.
Fabrizio versus Pitt, Honda versus Yamaha here. Harger's already gone through as they enter the last chicane. Norris
and there's Walker. Walker's not too far off a rostrum here. And he's lapping 3 seconds quicker than both riders in front of him.
And he lapped 1.2 seconds quicker than Norrie Harger on that lap. So
I don't like this. Walker's lapping too fast for me.
Well, perhaps he's just comfortable like that. And he's a class motocrosser. He knows what it's like to lack grip.
He's never happy unless the bike's moving around, is it, Chris? And you're dead right. But I just think.
But remember, he rejoined the race last by a country mile.
He's still got the best part of 10 laps to get past these lads. He ain't going to catch Harger.
But he
just needs to.
Oh, Chris, just don't do anything silly.
Chris.
Oh, and here comes Piggy. He picks up drive, coming out of De Strubben, and he flies past Michel Fabrizio. Ooh.
Keep it together, Chris. Come on. He's going to have these two. He's caught seconds on them.
So, Chris, yeah, but it's catching is one thing, getting past is another.
No, it's not.
Oh, all right.
He'll get past them.
That's what they always say in motocross. It's one thing because to catch somebody.
It's wet enough, so it's wet everywhere. There's no dryish line or damp line. It's just you can run off line a little bit. He'll pass him.
Well, Brock Parks was telling me last night these Kawasaki's are rubbish, but I tell you what, the way that Walker's riding it now, oh no, you'd think it was doing pretty well for him.
Yeah. It does look a bit of a big tank though. Sorry, Kawasaki. Oh,
that's not Norrie, is it?
It is Norrie.
Oh, Norrie Harger's gone. Walker could win this.
He could win this.
What is going on? And that will be
unbelievable.
That has destroyed his chances of the championship.
That's a 20-second. And that's exactly the same right-hander, only slightly before that Bayliss just crashed on.
Oh, Norrie Yuki, he had the chance.
And he's not getting back on that, it's destroyed.
He had the chance to dramatically close the gap on Troy Bayliss in the World Championship.
Chris Walker
right now,
this
is a battle for the lead. At the moment, Andrew Pitt is in the lead. This is the battle for the lead now, second place. And look at the crowd, look at the Brits in the grandstand as Walker goes past.
Walker
but you know it's slippy into the first turn.
Walker is, in Britain, about to elevate himself from a legend to a god.
If he stays on. No, it's too much. I can't take this. I'll tell you what, fellas, do you want to take over the mic? We've got David Johnson and Brendan Robertson here. Roberts, of course, has just become the British Superstock champ. I think he'll have to take over the commentary here. I can't stand this. Look, Fonzie Nieto's now 7th. Rolfo in 8th place. Tosland is now 9th. Whatever problems he's got, he's still going to grab some points.
Come on, Chris, I can't speak. I'm nervous.
Chris Walker. Andrew Pitt braking hard. Following Chris Walker, who said to me as the rains drove down this morning and the whole thing got red flagged after the warm-up red flag, he said, there's been so much rain here, I'm surprised the place hasn't been washed away over the years. And Norrie Harger, still looks to be smiling, but you've got to feel for him.
Thrown a 20-second lead and the best chance he's ever going to get the rest of this season of winning this championship. Bayliss out, he had a chance to 25 points
and reduce the deficit to 52 points. Yeah. Now then, what about Andrew Pitt? He won, of course. He had his debut victory in World Superbikes on a blistering hot day in Misano. Can he do it in contrasting conditions in Assen, or could Chris Walker make his debut on the top deck of the podium for the PSG One Course Kawasaki team? And I'll tell you what, the poor lad hasn't been paid for a year and a half. They'd have to pay him something if he won this.
We like Andrew Pitt. But we've got to say, we want to see Chris Walker win it.
Oh, no, I think Pitty's doing well. We can hardly see them, actually. Excuse me, out there somewhere underwater. Andrew Pitt riding for James Whittam's old team, the former Belgada Yamaha squad, managed by Mayo Merigali. And listen to the crowd. You can actually
hear the crowd, and you know what they're shouting for, because the stands are pretty much at least 50% full of Brits.
Oh, and Walker looking for a way through as he gets the power down on the ZX10, almost level with him as they come past us. But Pitt is a good, late, solid breaker.
Yeah, Pitt's a good, solid rider. He actually doesn't make that many mistakes. You watch Andrew Pitt in any conditions. He's a good, solid, safe team rider, is Andrew.
Josh Brooks in 4th place for Batoki Kawasaki. It was when was the last time they got a sniff of a rostrum. And he's lapping 2 minutes 2.9. He's at 13.7 seconds behind the leader. He's ahead of Norik Abe, heading for another good result for Yamaha France at last. Norifumi Abe, would you believe? He was adored by a young Valentino Rossi. That's why Rossi called himself Rossi Fumi. 88, Andrew Pitt. Number 9, Chris Walker. They are battling for the lead now. If Michel Fabrizio is still there with them, if they put a foot wrong, he's on the DFX Honda. Carl Muggeridge is now back in 11th place, having restarted. He's ahead of Ivan Clementi and Steve Martin.
I think Chris has fancied a bit of this now. This is as close as he's been, and he really looks to be pushing. One thing Chris has got is really good bike control. all his motocross, and it's not like he's done motocross and stopped. He actually still races every single weekend that he's not racing his road race bike. He's actually doing a motocross meet. He loves it.
He wants to do the Western Beach race again this year on October the 22nd. He finished 19th last year. That may not sound impressive, but from 1,000 starters on a 250 Suzuki, I was commentating it on site. It was a mint performance.
No, Chris rides motocross very, very, very well, and pretty much any kind of motocross. He rides modern stuff, he rides a little bit of twin shock stuff, and he's very, very quick on anything.
But Andrew Pitt's riding a commanding race here. He's just sticking right where he needs to be on the track. Oh, here comes Walker. Oh, is he going to do it? It's the place to do it. He lifts Pitty up. Oh, he goes through. He squeezes through. Walker leads here at Assen. The first race of World Superbikes, and the grandstand roof lifts off. Chris Walker leads, Andrew Pitt second, Michel Fabrizio first, third place. Kawasaki, the Japanese are here from the factory in Kawasaki. They've got to be taking notice of what Walker's doing here. He's come from last to first in the space of 15 laps.
You couldn't write this for a script.
What an extraordinary day here so far at Assen, but I just don't want it to end up with the customary Chris Walker bad luck story. Please, Chris, just look after yourself out there. Andrew, look after yourself. That was a really determined
That's
move.
it. He looked, for a lap, it looks like he's just been wanting a little bit of a go at the front. And he must, to be over, he's either fed up of looking at spray in his face, or he thinks he can pull away a little bit. Otherwise, there'd be no point going past that early. I think Chris thinks he can just motor on his own and put better times in than Andrew was doing, at least.
Now he's got himself to the front. How does he set his stock? How does he set up the snow? Josh Brooks has gone out. The reigning Australian Superbike champion goes down, and he was looking at a terrific result there. 4th place for Bertocchi Kawasaki. So bad luck to Josh Brooks. He crashes out as well. Well, that means Fabrizio's third, Arbe's fourth, Nieto is now 5th, Max Neukirchner 6th. Here's James Toseland. He is now in 8th place, behind Roberto Rolfo, ahead of Lorenzo Lanzi and Carl Muggeridge. Only just ahead of Lorenzo Lanzi because Reggio's right there with him.
And this is one of them days, Jack, when you've just got to finish. If you finish, you're going to be somewhere near.
So James Toseland, he's looking for a few points, of course, to narrow the gap on Norrie Hager after Hager's exit. But look at this, the battle on at the front. Pitt is not going to let him get away.
I almost dare watch this, honestly.
Well, we can blindfold you if you want. Any offers for the mic, boys? No? Shaking of heads here. David looks keen. I think he might take over from you. He knows you're only two. Heavens, anyone? Oh, look at this. Listen to the sound of the crowd here. Chris Walker once again surges past in the lead, but 159.2 or 159.5 from Pitty. He's lapping at almost the same pace. Here's Fonzi Nieto with Max Neukirchner. And I think they'd found that Neukirchner, hey, I tell you what Max is doing. This is a fine ride for Neukirchner. He's still suffering from the shoulder injury on the left side. He's not had much time on the Alstara Engineering Suzuki, and he was just hoping to get a bit of time in on track. Chris Walker getting a bit of time in on track on the PSG One Course Kawasaki.
God, is this a fairy tale or what?
Well, so far it is, but you know that Chris Walker's fairy tales have had a historical habit of turning sour on him, and at the moment Andrew Pitt is hanging in every bit as quick.
Yeah, Pitt is pretty much regrouped actually after the shock of getting past. He's actually just regrouping nicely, is Andrew.
Norrie Hager explains what happened.
Front end. I tell you what, it's nobody's fault conditions like this. Could happen to anybody.
That was a mint race. To have got the better of Bayliss and forced Bayliss into errors was a remarkable ride. Now Chris Walker still on it, and incidentally the rain looks as if it might have stopped outside.
Yeah, it has. You can actually tell, Jack, because there's just that not such a lying water kind of look at the track now.
And we can actually see out of the window again. So Chris Walker, conditions slightly improving. These lads, of course, went out. I was checking out the tyres before they went up on warm-up, and Maio Meregali looked at me looking at the tyres, and he said, wet. And I said, yes, Maio, I didn't really have bothered, need I? It was a bit obvious. So Chris Walker, of course, these lads on full wets. Chris Walker again, to rounds of applause, comes into the final chicane. He's completing 17 out of 22 laps. He's got to sustain this effort for another 5 laps. Oh, Rachel, wife-to-be, she's just praying.
Well, I tell you what, he'll be putting her housekeeping up this week if he wins this, I'll tell you.
And Andrew Pitt needs a break here from Shinichi Nakatomi. He's not got it just now. Walker breaking hard into the final chicane.
Even the people even the Brits in the grandstand now dare clap just in case.
No, they daren't. Look, there's some of them are waving their arms, but a lot of them are just gritting their teeth like we are. So Walker goes past. He's completed 19 laps out of 22. Our caption is a little bit misleading because the caption on screen
is what they're on.
Indicates he's entering his 20th lap.
Yeah.
Fabrizio snaking his way down. He's ridden a calm, cool race.
Yep.
Tell you what, when you consider that his mentor Frankie Killy binned it early on, I think really it's Frankie should be the protege, really. So Michel Fabrizio looking impressive. He's in 3rd place. Norik Abe goes past us 4th. Nieto 5th. Neukirchner 6th. Chris Walker 1:58.498 seconds on that lap. He now has a gap of 2 seconds over Andrew Pitt, but of course we can't be sure that'll stay that way as the ace of clubs goes flying past. That's Michel Fabrizio. I must ask him why he's got that on his helmet. Tosland 9th, Muggeridge 10th. I'm fascinated by the race that James Tosland has ridden. Has he had a problem, or did he just get uncomfortable in the heavy rain and have to regroup?
Don't know, this must be going to be Arbe's best ever result, eh?
He's finished. He's had 4th places before in the dry at Valencia. He particularly likes. Andrew Pitt in 2nd place for Maio Marigali's Yamaha Italia team, and that'll probably please Signor Conzoni as well, who was looking very glum about the weather when we were waiting.
Looking very glum about Noriyuki Haga throwing away just about any chance he has of winning the World Championship this year.
You're right, because Norrie, that really was a bit of a nugget for Norrie Haga. You could call it a nugget in these conditions. Chris Walker then, when he completes this lap, he'll have 2 laps left. He's breaking into the final chicane once again, now on the PSG1 course Kawasaki. Wow, this could make up for a few of those bitter disappointments that his career has been plagued with. 4 times runner-up in the British Superbike Championship, on the last occasion in Y2K, of course, when his Suzuki expired in the final race of the series. He went into the Donington Park round 21 points ahead of Neil Hodgson. He came out of it 2nd in the championship.
Yeah, there's not many times in road racing where there's grown men sat in the stands crying, and that was one of them.
So Chris Walker, can the cheerful little bloke actually survive this last lap and a half? Not only survive this last lap and 3/4, but ahead of...
He's got a bit of time now. For me, Pitt's just about giving best here. Just about thinking that 2nd's better than ended up on his backside. I think Chris...
This is the main straight. Chris Walker has never done well here. He's never really had much time. He says, whenever I come to Holland, he said, I've been to Holland about 5 times to race here at Assen. I've ended up arrested, in jail, in hospital twice, and then I got pulled over for speeding. He said I was only doing 50 miles an hour over the speed limit for a camper.
I was just going to say he wants to be not going down those blooming grubby side streets.
But listen, what happened was the cop who stopped him earlier this week said, oh, you are lucky, Mr. Walker. I like Superbike. I'm going to let you go. But he said, make sure you produce a result at the weekend.
Well, he's doing that for him.
What could be better?
Yeah.
So there's going to be some policeman somewhere in the Netherlands watching this, I hope.
Who's going to be a right stalker fan from now on.
Well done, son. Glad I let you off. Glad I didn't. Because he said, I could confiscate your motorhome. I could take it off you now and send you off walking.
Come on, Chris.
Walker leads it. I'll repeat that for you guys back home, just in case you're as incredulous as we are. Chris Walker, who was last as they came out of the first turn by the proverbial country mile, is about to enter the final lap of 22 in the lead here at Assen in round 9 of World Superbikes.
I can hardly watch.
You're going to have to watch it for at least another lap. Well, let's just... I've almost got my fingers crossed, Sam Corsa
Another
style.
second that lap. He's got 4 seconds. He needs to know how far he's in front. He needs to have a look round. He needs to go into Struben and have a look sideways and just see that he's got, best part 5 seconds.
Surely, if he's riding comfortably,
he wants to keep going at that pace. Yeah, well, you know.
He's doing a 1:59. Pitti did a 1:59.9. Fabrizio 2 minutes 2.8. Norik Abe hasn't gone past yet.
And I do think he's taking it a little bit steady. He looked very steady getting the throttle open coming out of Struben. He knows
Noric Arbe's gone past with Fonzie Nieto and Max Neukirchner right with him. There's a huge battle going on for fourth place because Noric Arbe's, well, I don't know what happened there. Nieto set his fastest lap of the race, so too has Neukirchner, and they've just realised that Arbe's there for the taking. So that's a battle going on. Rolfo, Lanzi, Muggeridge and Tosland go past almost together. And Muggers has got past Tosland into 9th place. This is the battle for 4th place. Noric Arbe on the Yamaha France R1 suddenly has Fonzie Nieto and
Never
Max
mind that.
Neukirchner.
Where's Cinderella back at the front?
Oh, God. Chris, that's the new nickname then? Chris Cinderella Walker. He leads us at the moment.
Here comes
Fonzie Nieto
inside of Arbe. Oh, run wide.
Whoops, Daisy.
Sorry.
Oh, and that's let Noric Arbe well off the hook on the final lap.
Come on, come on.
Meanwhile, at the front, please, Mr. Cameraman, I know that you don't much care for Brits, Mr. Director, but we want to see Christopher John Walker. We've got to see him. Come on. Lorenzo Lanzi has gone past Roberto Rolfo. His team are getting ready. They're hanging over the wire fence. What on earth are we watching this for? Here he is. He's coming through the final chicane now. Chris Walker takes victory in the first race here at Assen World Superbikes for the PSG1 Course Kawasaki team, having started off last after being pushed into the gravel in the first turn. Finally, we get a fairy tale for Chris Walker, the Nottinghamshireman, who... Oh, I can hardly believe this.
His team can hardly believe it.
Oh, Reggie's in tears, bless her. That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. The 33-year-old finally gets himself a winner by Fonzie.
This is into the last chicane.
Fonzie tries it again. Can he hold it this time?
Yep.
He spits flame into the Japanese face, and Fonzie Nieto makes it a 1-4 for PSG1 Course Kawasaki, with 4th place ahead of Noric Arbe, Max Neukirchner, Lorenzo Lanzi, who got the better of Roberto Rolfo on the final lap, and Carl Muggeridge, who just beat James Tosland on the penultimate lap. But at the front, it matters not. These guys have got a bit of celebrating to do. Even Regis Laconi has a smile on his face. But I want to see Chris Walker out round the track. Oh, look at Jack Valentine, bless him, hugging Guido.
You've got to be pleased for them.
So Chris Walker takes a remarkable, unlikely, amazing victory here at Assen for the PSG1 Course Kawasaki team. He said, well, I don't particularly like the rain, but I know how well I can do in it.
And he was right.
He was truly right. And, you know, I'm glad that we didn't get that flight back tonight, because we can have a beer with him tonight.
Yeah,
or a few.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Chris, I'm waiting for the greeting he gets when he comes round to where the greatest amount of fans are, but there's a fair few of them out the back as well.
Yes.
Oh, look at them, bless them. They're out there, sheltered beneath
anything
huge
they can
umbrellas.
find. Class performance, that.
Class performance by Pitt as well in second place.
Yep.
Oh. So Chris Walker has won his first World Superbike race. Has that rescued his World Superbike career? Well, any team would be fatheads not to consider him for 2007, I'd say. So Walker, Pitt, Fabrizio, the men on the rostrum, Fonzie Nieto, Noric Arbe, Max Neukirchner, Lorenzo Landi, Roberto Rolfo. Great rides by all those guys, because anyone who stayed upright and raced has really
I'd tell you what,
their worth.
Honestly, I mean, I've ridden in them conditions loads, and to have a race where good men like that are crashing, you want a medal just for finishing.
First win for Chris Walker in the World Superbike Championship. Can you actually speak?
Not really. I mean, I haven't got anything good to say, to be honest, other than the fact that the bike was as good as you can get in those conditions. It was pretty treacherous for everybody, and I was very fortunate that so many of the top riders made mistakes or got caught out, but we had to start from the back of the grid, which made it really tough. You know, we had a small misfire at the end of practice, and the guys just said, look, you can't start the race like that, and it was that bike I wanted to ride. So by the time they'd fixed it, we'd missed the chance to get on the grid where we should be, and they just said, you'll be okay, it's a long race, just stay quiet, and for sure, when I got took off on the first bend, I thought this is going to be a long race. But I mean, the bike was brilliant, and I just tried to ride safe, keep out of trouble, and I haven't got anything to say really other than thank you everybody for all the support all these years, and I'll hopefully do it again.
Could you believe what was happening in front of you as the race went on?
Every time you arrived at a corner, there was a yellow flag, and it was nearly impossible to get by people. And the trouble was, every time you saw a bike had crashed, there was that much mud, you couldn't tell whose bike it was or who it was. So I stopped looking in the end and just kept concentrating on what it was. And half race distance, looked at my pit board, it said I was near the front, so then I got my head down and brought her on in.
Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you.
Race 2 coming up. Could race 1 winner Chris Walker make it double trouble for the championship leaders?
Sponsored by Bennett's Bike Insurance.
Before the smoke has lifted over Assen, World Superbikes is back again this weekend at the Lausitzring in Germany for the Euro Speedway.
Look at this battle.
Round 10 of World Superbikes begins with Superpole on Saturday, and both races this Sunday from 10:45. Exclusively live, only on British Eurosport.
Sponsored by Bennett's Bike Insurance.
Relax when you travel with Orange.
Sponsored by Bennett's Bike Insurance.
Last minute adjustments are made. Nerves must be absolutely on tenterhooks. Concentration at a maximum. Watch the lights. Oh, and Hager got